Hello, guys. Welcome to the new podcast, which is called Efficiency Now. Don't be silent, be lean. And my first guest is Michael Rada. I'm really happy that it's directly him because I was the guest in his nice podcast, Talks About Nothing, already 4 times. So, Michael, welcome here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's honor for me to be at the start of a new, exciting journey. Let's call it so.
Okay, I really love what you have because what I get, so everybody can put whatever he wants in the comments and how to be presented, yeah, and you put the human. So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. In my history, which is about 35 years in a business, I have a lot of titles on my business cards, and it was up to the level of president because I was the president of a company. But when I started to work as an entrepreneur, I realized that all these titles are nothing worse. And I put there human one day, and it's 10 years ago. And it was so fascinating. Even now, when I am speaking about it, I have a goosebumps on my skin. And it is very interesting that if you hand a business card with the title human to someone, the reaction of every single person is the same. They look at it, they look at me, they look at it again and start to talk. Not about the business card, not about the title, not about them. They simply start to talk. And you know, Ivan, for our life and work, talking and speaking with others, it's so important. The communication is a key. And this title open, it's the door which really open, in which you use the key of communication. It's fascinating, really. I never expected it, and I have the same feeling every single time when I say, "Good morning, my name is Michael Rada, I'm human."
Okay. By the way, I like as well your surname. Can you a little bit translate? What does it mean?
Rada means advice, and what is interesting, it's generally not my original surname. It's not I'm not an artist or so it's not this special name. It's the name of my wife because when I get married, which is very unusual, I take the surname of my wife. And the interesting part is, nomen omen, when I get this name, this surname, I start to advise people. So, but even more crazier, I ask every time a lot of questions. And when I was in Japan, the people call me Mr. Question, and they didn't know that it is an advice. And when I told them that my surname is advice, so the reaction was, the Japanese companies, oh, Rada. And that was so funny every single time.
So great, yeah. Of course, among of human, I know that you are as well the founder of Industry 5.0. Yeah, you have a lot of as well the audience on LinkedIn. You are quite visible everywhere. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yes. Generally, before I launched or invented Industry 5.0, because before I set it to the world, this is the best term. It was on December 1st, 2015. I worked for 30 years in logistics, or 23 years at the time in the logistics. And I realized at the end that there is something wrong with the world. And the wrong part was that I say all the time, we are hunting for more. No matter what it is, we need more turnover, more businesses, more whatever. And we generate a lot of waste. And in 2010, I found out that nobody in the world, not a single company, try really to prevent the waste happen, especially on industrial scale. And you know me for quite a long time, and I'm the person when there is a stop sign, for me, is the indication I will try to eliminate it. And this is the new start for me. So I started to implement systematic waste prevention. I developed a methodology, implemented in factories because I'm not academia. I have no academic education. I started my career as a steel factory worker. And still, just before this event, I came from loading a truck with empty cable drums. So I spent more time in a boiler suit. And this is how I came to Industry 5.0. This is how I came. You mentioned a lot of people. I am leading a network in 119 countries. Today, generally 10 years after I launched Industry 5.0, 21 governments are implementing Industry 5.0 in a strategic development plans. European Commission did on January 7th, 2021, generally, and so on. So it's quite interesting. And I'm really proud that it is human who started the change. It's not money, it's not technology, it's really human. And I love the work you are doing because you spend a lot of time with lean. And of course, as a logistician, I know about it. And Industry 5.0 use a lot of the lean principles, but it scale it up and take it out of the, let's call it, industries into life and into different segments. And that's so important.
Yeah, thanks for that. As well, I would say what motivates you, because I can imagine that, when you are creating something new, there will be a lot of haters. There will, be a lot of people that will not be maybe fully supporting you. So really what motivates you in daily life that you are, trying to continue, because it's only 10 years. Yeah. So tell me more.
The motivation is simple. I set for me one and only aim, really only one, at the very beginning. And this aim is to build wasteless world for all. Mm-hmm. And this is what I'm doing. I don't have money. I'm not rich. I cannot buy this type of world. I cannot buy people. What I can do, I can be the one who started, who live in an office. You see here behind me, these pictures are made from obsolete and broken vinyl record. To make one, you take 2 hours to 3 hours to cut it by hand. And you know yourself that this man behind me is the first Czech president. Mm-hmm. And here the man on the other side is my granddad, who left at the age of 99 and 9 months. So these are people who I value, and all of them has been humans. And this is the push. So it's not money. And the other one is, when you deliver palpable results, you can touch the results, you can see it, you can look back, and you see every single step of yours, and you don't shame for a single one. And this is what the people drive towards Industry 5.0, because we spend a lot of time with Excel sheets and presentations and manuals and so on, but usually you don't see the result. In Industry 5.0, you see every single one. As I said, I was loading a truck. The result, full truck loaded with used cable drums, which are not wasted in a landfill, but go to another factory, which will put another cable there, and we will use a single use package. We will use twice, and then third time and fourth time, as long as possible. And we can do this almost with everything. You know it because part of lean is generally 5S methodology and similar, which is based on eliminating of muda, another Japanese word, which generally eliminates waste in a very specific way. In Industry 5.0, it's scaled up in a way which was never introduced by anyone before me. So this is how I get to this journey. And what motivates me, on the door of my office, and it's written, and I see this message every single time when I leave the message. I am looking forward to come back to this office, to change the world.
And before Industry 5.0, what have you done? What was your job before?
I started, as I said, in a steel factory. But then, for example, I was the first East European au pair in UK in 90s. Then I lived for 1 year on a medieval castle, and I really lived on the castle, and I was the guide there for a year, castle called Křivoklad. Okay. And then I spent a lot of time in logistics. Generally, most of my time I spent with logistics and in logistics, different companies, different roles, international trade and so on. But every single one was connected to logistics. And I am really honored that the Logistic Academy in Czech Republic, for example, let me become one of the tutors. I do not have academic or logistic education. Everything what I learned was from doing it. And this is what I share.
I I think it's always, the most things, one is academic, how it could be, how it should be, but, the real life is different. Yeah. As I'm in 20 plus years in the industry, as a lean manager, regional manager, CI consultant, operational excellence, I really need to laugh what I read in the books, which is the best scenario, the blue sky, blue ocean. That would be amazing. But normally you have one, I would say, one point which you never have as in the books, and it's the people. And in the books, the best way would be that everybody fully obey, everybody fully follows the rules, but the reality is different because we are humans, yeah, and which is great. So for me, it's, I think that's what I really like. You do it practically because practically is much better than to have, something in the books just.
And let me build up the next thought. We are humans, that's right, but we are part of nature. And this is the second part which we have to understand. Mm-hmm. We are not, I just had this discussion yesterday about cooperation between humans generally and nature in some way. We say, or in the school we learn that we are part of nature, but then we go out of the door. There is no nature, there is a city. I call it the human-made ecosystems. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, during the evolution, I will call it more devolution, in fact, we separated and we built this human-based ecosystem, destroying this one, considering we will survive. The fact is, we will not. They will survive. The nature will survive without humans. That's right. But humans will not survive without nature. This is why even Industry 5.0 is restoring the missing link between human and between nature and human-made ecosystems. And this is so important, because if we do not understand that, one example, you asked me about my jobs. One of my jobs was, for example, 20 years ago, I worked for a refrigeration company, quite a large wholesaler. And the main customers has been the people who install the refrigeration. So very simple people with skilled hands. And at that time, so more than 20 years ago, these people told me, Mr. Rada, forget about 4 seasons in a year. There will be only 2. 20 years later, I read a scientific report which says there will be no 4 seasons, there will be only 2. And the reason is because these people has been in everyday touch with their nature of the ecosystem, because you buy air conditioning or refrigeration where there is too hot. So they have seen, and these guys has been in their 50s, 60s. They lived in a communist time all their life. And still there has been able to predict what will happen more accurately than any scientist in the world. And this is exactly what you described.
My question is as well, what do you think, what are the biggest challenges currently that you are facing?
I don't see any challenges in a way of challenges itself. I have to say that many people and many organizations, and I call them giants, you know about it. Many giants don't like what I do. And people are surprised about the names of the giants because they are United Nations, there's European Commissions, there are World Economic Forum, very rich people, even Greenpeace don't work with me, which is strange because I am building wasteless world. But, it is a different way when you build it and you firstly stretch your hands and ask, give me money, I will do it. And today, thanks to the technology and everything, and to the flow of technology, there is more and more projects like these, like the ocean cleanup project, for example, which reveal at the end they did not deliver what they promised. We are sitting here, you spend a lot of time in automotive industry. Me, I was in touch with the industry as well. 10 years ago, I told them not to produce new cars, and they think I was completely crazy. But when I finished my sentence, they changed their mind because I said, don't produce only new cars. Who are your best customers? The people who have your car, and they are loyal customers. So for them, that you will transfer, if they would like to, their car with combustion engine into electric car. There is 1 billion cars with combustion engines in the world. 1 billion customers. Okay, let's say 20% only would like to make this change because they do not drive anymore hundreds of kilometers every day, but in a city, few kilometers. Do you know, Ivan, do you know what was the first electric car in UK? It was car made in UK. And when it was introduced?
I would say 70s. I have no clue.
There has been cars in the 1910s and 1920s, but I don't speak about this. This one, let's call it the new generation electric car, was introduced exactly 40 years ago, 1985. And you will smile when I say the name of the brand, Sinclair. This is the same guy who invented Sinclair computer. You know very well what I'm speaking.
I know it. Yeah.
And this guy introduced car for one. It looked like a toy, but it was really intended for adults. I will send you after this, and you can edit to the video. Some collector in UK bought completely new this type of car, and he speaks about it on a YouTube. Fascinating. And he made a test drive. The reason why I mention it, he mentioned one interesting information. He mentioned it in 1985. The average distance driven in a day was 8 miles. And this car was able to drive. And this is about efficiency. This is about lean efficiency, everything connected. You know, we are here about lean. The strength of nature. And for me, it's important to say, for me, nature is the only role model from the very beginning. Nature, because nature does not waste. And right now I came to what you say. Nature. Have you ever seen an apple tree holding a business plan in the branches to know that tomorrow apples should grow? No.
No way.
I haven't seen in my 53 years of life, I haven't seen a single tree holding a business plan or time scheduler or whatever. And it works. You know, nature is here for a little longer than the humans, little, few billions, millions, whatever years, little longer. And still it is here. So we have to be more closer to nature in a way. I don't use the words green, sustainable, ESG, SDG, whatever. No, I use a language which the people understand. And these terms are not understood at all. I have a question for you. When you enter a company, is there common thing that you say, I'm a lean, I would like to do something with lean, and the people say, what? Never heard about.
That's quite typical. I would say that's quite typical. So, you know, like I had quite interesting discussion even 2 days ago, where really with one of the plant manager, and he's in some group with other plant managers, and there was some discussion like this online interview, and they were discussing about Muda, which you mentioned, it kind of waste there. And he was surprised because I'm working with this company and I'm supporting them in the lean methodology and lean, changing the lean mindset and all of that. And the interesting was that he was shocked, where the guys were so surprised to hear about the first time about really the waste. And he was like, it's so amazing. And he was like, wow, you know, and they were the guys of the big companies. He has the big company as well, yeah. But he was surprised that, you know, he said, I would really mention that everybody already knows about that everybody knows about what is it lean, what is waste, how to eliminate it. But the reality was completely different here. And I think that this is what I would like to do. And I hope even, you know, this series like Don't Be Silent and Be Lean, let's speak about the lean. Let's speak really about the methodology, but really about the mindset. And this is something which is, I think it's very crucial that, you know, a lot of people are thinking, okay, the lean is set of the tools and it's 5S and it's 8 kind of ways and it's a value stream mapping. And, you know, there are hundreds kind of tools, but really the Toyota way at 50s, they just say, hey guys, we would like to improve. And the first, let's implement the Kaizen. And Kaizen, it's, you know, the daily improvement and everybody can contribute. And I really strongly believe it's if everybody makes the work a little bit better, that we can succeed. And I think that this is the great thing that we can do totally around.